Well, Stephanie, we had a moment, one of those times that actually ended up being on YouTube all over the place. And it was you leading worship, and the theme was dance. Although I'm not sure that anybody had planned that the theme was dance.
Just before Steffany nailed this, I was thinking, I was taken to I was teaching a few days ago. Just carry on. Don't stop singing about dancing. Just do that thing. Just do that thing you do. Because I want us to go somewhere. I was teaching the other day, and I was teaching about your steps are ordered by the Lord. And as I taught, I realized that up until that moment, I'd always thought that my steps were forward. But as I taught, I realized that sometimes my steps are a dance. That your steps are ordered by the Lord, but sometimes your steps are a dance. And sometimes He just wants to dance with you for a moment. And instead of taking you forward, He wants to dance with you. And then just before you went there, I was thinking, there's no dance that He can't dance with you. There's no melody He can't dance to you with. There isn't one. He can dance the last wall and He'll take you home, waltz and He'll take you home. He can dance the first dance at the marriage supper. He can dance that with you. He can dance the quick step, the foxtrot. He can dance them all. There's no dance He can't dance with you. It doesn't matter what melody is ringing in your soul right now. He'll dance it with you. He'll dance you out of your pain. He'll dance you into your victory. He'll dance it with you. There's no dance He can't dance with you. There's no dance. Dance Him. Dance with Him. Dance out of your pain. Dance into your victory.
Forget about your 2 left feet.
remember way back there was that song, Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music, you know? And somewhere the church ended up believing that the devil invented music and invented dancing, but he's the Lord of the dance. He put the song in our hearts. Just put your hand on somebody near you and just declare, he really is the Lord of the dance. And he can dance any melody you're dancing right now. He'll dance you out of where you are and into where you're going. He'll dance you out of your pain and into your victory. He'll dance you out of depression and into joy. He'll dance you out of confusion into his peace. He's the Lord of the dance. Release the dance over the person next to you. Release it. Give them permission. Give them permission to dance their way out of their circumstances, to dance their way out of sickness, to dance their way into health. Just tell them that's where they're going. He really is the Lord of the dance. He invented this whole thing, created man in his own image, put a song in his heart, put a melody in his spirit, and he wants the whole world to know. Yeah. And if you're not dancing on iBethel TV by now, you should be. In your front room or wherever you happen to be, you should be dancing because he is the Lord of the dance. Give a shout of praise to him. Bless his holy name.
What do you remember about that day? I've got loads of memories, but you just started doing something. I interrupted, actually. I came up early, which was unusual, but what do you remember? What stands out for you?
I think what I remember most is that Jeremy was leading another song, and it ended up, we were singing Holy. We were singing something, it was really quiet, a bit somber, and it got really, really still. And I kept hearing the song Lord of the Dance in my head. And I argued with myself for at least 3 or 4 minutes because I was like, this is the worst time to start singing that song. We're in this holy moment, and if I sing Lord of the Dance, I'm going to take Jeremy off, and I'm going to take it a totally different direction that wouldn't leave me alone. So I just started singing, and then Jeremy did his little chuckle, and he kind of looked over at me like he does, and he goes, and he steps back like, well, I don't know what she's going to do, but we'll see. And so I knew it could go somewhere or not, but I just felt it so strongly.
Yeah.
And so I kept singing it. And then you came up, and I was like, whew.
Yeah.
But it was a process for me to actually sing it out, because it seemed like the weirdest time to sing
and
that.
this strange thing that day is that I had a theme about dance that was running through my head all week. I'd been in first service and you sang We Will Dance for Your Glory as one of the lines. You have the Lord of the Dance thing, but we also have Ben Cantillon, who wrote We Will Dance for Your Glory in the church.
Which is so nuts.
And for me, it was an example for me of trusting what I feel in a room, trusting the anointing in a room and going with it.
Yes.
And I think you're the same.
That's what I did,
Yeah. And then, you know, I very rarely interrupted worship. That's not something that I would typically do.
Right.
I got permission, but there was something going on.
Yeah.
And it was a fun time.
Right.
Any other thoughts about, you know, this moment of closing worship, this moment when somebody comes up who, like me, I mean, I'm not musical. I am completely without musical. From your point of view, what helps you? What are things that we could help people to learn from your experience?
I know in a lot of churches, at least where I came from, you sort of planned your worship set around what the speaker was doing or what the pastor was doing, which I love. There's something special about that. But then there's something special about not knowing. Yeah. Because we've spent time and you've spent time, and it's in moments like that when we're all surprised and excited, and that God spoke and we all heard him, and that's the anointing, that's what was happening in the room, and we took a risk, and then it was so much sweeter. I think what I love is that I stepped out and tried something that seemed really out of place, but I took the risk and trusted that you all would, you know, because we're in family, because we're in community, that someone would stop it if it was wrong, that someone would come in if it needed to go somewhere else, that Jeremy would take over or you would take over. And but I had to take the risk. And then when you stepped in, you put language to the thing that was happening that I was singing, you know?
Right.
And that was really powerful because the people, like you were saying earlier, the people are wanting to engage, and they know the presence is in the room. They can feel there's something on it. I'm singing Lord of the Dance. We know there's something there, but we don't quite know what it will be. And then we partnered, and you came up and gave language to it. And so the whole room was able to engage with that.
Right.
You know?
So, I mean, the partnership piece
It's the partnership.
is a huge piece.
Yes.
And also, it wasn't about closing worship. It was about pulling out that moment and maximizing it for everybody,
Yes.
kind of illuminating it and going,
Yes.
this is happening, let's jump
Yes.
right in. Yeah.
Because I think what happens a lot with those moments is that when there's not partnership, they can fall flat because, you know, my gifting is not the same as yours, and that moment really needed you to come and speak into it. And so when you did, then it was able to be everything that it should have been.
Yeah.
The Lord was able to get the glory in that moment because we all played our part. We played our role. It's just really sweet to me.
For me, it's a point that we've talked about with other people, but I know it between you and me that we have a connection. You know, I mean,
It's
I
true.
don't spend, you know, hours with you in
know.
my life, but
know.
there's a connection. I value you, you
It's true.
value me. We can do eye contact on the stage. We can kind of
Right.
connect.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the only way that you can actually do this partnership thing. If you're two strangers, it's awkward.
It's true.
And so
Very awkward.
it's really just highlighting again a
Yeah.
point that Brian and Jen and others have made of make sure that whoever's doing that or the leader of the meeting has some connection with the worship leader.
Yes.
You know.
Because you'll miss it. You'll be so concerned that I knew I was covered.
Yeah.
I knew if I stepped out and tried something that didn't work, that I would be covered.
Yeah.
And at least I tried,
Yeah.
right? At
Yeah.
least I took
Yeah.
the risk. And which we're so blessed to be able to do in this house.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was a safe place to step out. And because that connection was there and there was trust, I felt safe, and I wasn't tearing it apart and so worried that I didn't try.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
And you're an incredibly, expressive worship leader. You're all in. Your body, soul, spirit, all in when you're leading worship. So you're giving your all. So to me, it's only right that those of us that are coming up to close worship or transition or whatever the language actually are working with you, not against you. Because otherwise,
it means so much.
an hour's practice, a lifetime of practice, worshiping,
It's true.
writing songs
Right.
was maximized in a moment
It's true.
that could have been killed in a moment.
Yes.
So it's a big
So
deal
true.
that we actually work together and partner. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming and chatting about
Thanks for having
one of
me.
my favorite moments.
I know, mine
that
too.
lives on now
Yes,
in
it does.
YouTube land,
Yes.
and I think it's something that we can learn a lot from.
Mm-hmm.
I've only interrupted worship actually twice, I think now. I did it a few weeks ago, but it was the same thing. It's like what's happening up there is a moment that we need to make the best of. We need
Yeah,
to share
there's
with
more
everybody.
here.
Yeah. So so you got to be one of my two
I love it.
interruption moments, and
Interrupt me anytime.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah.
I love
Okay.
it.
Well, thanks, and thanks for all you do in the field of worship, and especially singing that Mercy
Thank you,
song just
Paul.
lately. I
Oh,
love
man.
that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wrecked.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for all you do.